Do you see a way back for Rashford?
No.
No. Why not?
I don't think he looked happy at United. I think he looks happier now. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Which is a shame because I seen him
as a kid.
I was part of the staff when we gave him his debut, and I remember walking over to reserve team pitches and just watching it. It was a small-sided game. Me and Louis walked over. Didn't really know him. Knew a bit about him. But all of a sudden, it was just like, bang, bang, goals. And just like, Louis went, no, he trains with us.
Is he?
Wow, you are in for a treat on this little clip. Ryan Giggs gives a nice little interview with Rio Ferdinand on his podcast, and he talks about everything from Wayne Rooney's impact at Manchester United when he first signed, also about Bryan Robson and those old school United players who helped mentor Giggsy, and he's also giving his brutally honest opinion about Marcus Rashford and whether or not there's a way back for him at Manchester United. This is a must-see for all Manchester United fans, and it just there's a tint of nostalgia in these clips, particularly for the Big D as well, because it's just a little reminder of how good things used to be. But anyway, here's Giggsy, and stick around for after the clip because the Big D is going to be giving his thoughts on what is discussed. Here they are.
And they had a bit of work to do, whereas Wayne just come and he was
Finished
more or less
article.
finished the article.
Yeah, it's crazy, wasn't it?
I remember Wayne coming on, and I'd heard about him. He come on at Old Trafford, he come on at right wing, and I'm left wing. And, he's a bit big, and I was like, and he just went past me. I went, oh.
When he was at Everton?
When he was at Everton.
Wow.
He was at Everton at Old Trafford, he come on, and he just, what was that then? Honestly, he just went past me, and it was like so quick. And then obviously he came, and he was just, when he was at it, he was unplayable. Unplayable. Because when the ball stuck, with Wayne, if his first touch was good, I knew he was going to play well. And I knew he was on it.
Yeah.
If it was bouncing off him, then, he wouldn't be quite at it. But shrugging people off, closing people down, just every type of goal, just hungry, just angry, just an amazing player.
Do you think Wayne got everything out of himself?
Yeah, I think he did.
Do you think there was more in Wayne? Because I always talk about, I'm interested to hear what you say about this. Remember the year he scored 35 or something goals as a number 9, and he came back in that summer and was going, I want to be a 10. Don't want to play up front. Best, almost got on the Ballon d'Or, everything. And then he goes, I want to be a 10 because I didn't enjoy myself. What was you thinking? Did you speak to him around that time about stuff like that or not?
No, I mean, it was when Cristiano left, wasn't it? So it was a void of sort of that centre forward role. And I think the manager had said to him, I don't want you running here then everywhere, I don't want you running channels, which he'd obviously done for 10 years. I want you to stay in the box and you'll score goals, which he did. But Wayne just wanted to be involved. He just wanted to, he'd be getting it off the keeper, he'd be building up, he wanted to be handling the crosses, he wanted to be crossing the ball. That was him. He just wanted to be all action. Whereas probably he was more effective, but didn't enjoy the game as much. He was more of a rude.
Talking about the players and stuff, I want to take it to the dressing room and like the values at Manchester United. You're the most decorated player that we've had, and we'll get onto that later. But Owen argues, and we've sat on the pod loads of times, and he talks about a dressing room full of sharks. But that's how it works in the dressing room. Who were the people that probably have to go back to the early part? Who were the people that kind of were the sharks who ran the dressing room and were the people that drove it?
Bruce, Robson, Pallister, Ince, Hughes, then Cantona came, Schmeichel. They were just men. And Bryan Robson, coming towards the end of his career, obviously, my first full season, every game that Bryan Robson started, you never thought you were going to get beat. He commanded that respect with us and with the opposition. And it was like, oh, I hadn't seen this before. And you just go out. Roy later had that impact where if he's starting a game, you didn't think of course we lost. Of course we did. But you didn't think you were going to, because you had that power, that aggression, that leadership in the team.
Yeah, the younger people listening or watching this won't really know much about Bryan Robson.
Probably a bit like Bruno now. You know, he's the best player, and he's not in a great team. Whereas Robbo, you know, didn't win the league until the last game of his career.
Yeah.
But Robbo was, like I say, that's the biggest sort of compliment I can give him. If he was starting a game, you didn't think you were going to lose. And not only that, it was, you know, away games, getting the coach everywhere, you get the coach back, the manager would get off first, Robbo would stand up and go, right, everyone, mulligans, 2 pints.
Pub.
2 pints. After the 2 pints, you can go home or you can stay out. But everyone stays for 2 pints.
That's part of team building, that, isn't it?
It was part of team building. There's no mobiles then. So literally we're talking, you know, we're in the pub and we're talking about the game. You should have passed to me. What do you mean you should have passed to me? And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, well, I made that run, and you're actually doing a sort of tactical analysis of the game without even knowing it.
Over a couple of pints?
Yeah.
That ain't happening now, is it?
It's not happening.
A couple of pints of like, what, energy drinks and stuff like that, isn't it? It's different now.
What do you mean Powerade?
This Man United team, obviously everyone's sitting there going, what's the problems? How does it get fixed? What do you see at Manchester United now and you go, that needs to be fixed? What are a couple of things that you go immediately that jump off the page to you?
Well, recruitment. The recruitment in the last, and I was part of it, the last 10, 12 years has just been not good enough. Any business, any football team, you need that recruitment. You need a bit of luck. You need young, you know, we had young players coming through. So you had a group of young players together with the best players in Britain, and, you know, the Cantona's coming in, Kanchelskis, Schmeichel. So you need a bit of luck that you have them young players coming through. Recruitment, time. I like the manager. I like Amarin. I think he's charismatic. He needs time. He needs a few transfer windows. He needs backing, but also he needs help on what is a United player and what a United player looks like.
Do you see a way back for Rashford? No. Why not?
I don't think he looked happy at United. I think he looks happier now. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Which is a shame, because I seen him
as a kid.
I was part of the staff when we gave him his debut, and I remember walking over to reserve team pitches and just watching it. It was a small-sided game. Me and Louis walked over. Didn't really know him. Knew a bit about him. But all of a sudden it was just like bang, bang, goals. And it was just like, Louis went, no, he trains with us.
Is he?
That's the impact that he made. Obviously trained with us, played, and he was just, it's like any young player just playing with freedom. He doesn't look like that. And for Marcus and for United, I think it's best if they part ways. And he'll be a brilliant player for someone. I don't know who.
What would you have been saying to him if you're in the building still in the last couple of years? How would you have approached that situation as a coach? Well,
you've got to, first of all, he's got to work harder. You know, I talked about no matter what position on the pitch you are, you sprint back as quick as you sprint forward. And aesthetically, it didn't look great, especially if the team ain't doing well. Because the fans will forgive you for missing a chance. They won't forgive you for not working hard enough. They just won't. Because they can do that. They can sprint.
Yeah.
Everyone can.
Effort.
Yeah. But then also, you know that what I talked about, you know that he can play up there.
Yeah, his ability is like not even in question, is it?
No, it's not. And he's done it everywhere. He's done it on the biggest stage. So, but it was from looking. It's hard from looking outside to in, but it looked like he's not enjoying it, and you've got to enjoy it, especially flair players. You know, attacking players, because that's your best moments when confidence is high. You're trying things, don't always come off, but play instinctively and play like you did when you were younger. Freedom.
Midfielders in the Premier League, who's the best? I know everyone goes Scholes, Gerrard or Lampard. You've got Keane and Vieira as well, De Bruyne now. Who would you go as at the top of that Mount Rushmore of those midfielders?
So the ones who could do everything, Keane, Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, they're the ones for me who are at the top.
If I give me one though, give me one.
Scholes.
Scholesy?
Yeah. That's
enough. That's all I need to hear. He was a joke, man, seriously.
Yeah. But It's like the Messi Ronaldo sort of, you know, just enjoy him. Just enjoy. You won't see it again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, when you're talking about just enjoy him, I don't know if I enjoyed playing with players and seeing stuff in a game as much as you. Like, do you remember when we used to come in, we used to huddle and I used to run up and celebrate and I used to say, I say some mad shit. But I don't know what I used to say. But and I used to see you or Scholes, you sometimes go like, in the midst of it all, go, like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I used to be mad. But yeah, there was the two players that I used to think, wow, you'd make a pass that no one else I know on the pitch was going to make that pass. And I used to just be thinking, oh my God. I'd be running up and people would think I'm going to go to the person who's scored the goal and I'm just going to one of you going, fucking, what a pass, man. Fucking hell, that's fucking cinematic. Do you know what I mean? Like mad shit.
Yeah, but there's, you know, you obviously got De Bruyne. De Bruyne is unbelievable. But, you know, could De Bruyne play in it too? I'm not too, you know, he could do probably if he had a right partner. David Silva, Cesc Fabregas. These are all unbelievable players. And of course, if you support that team, you're going to say that they're better than the midfielders we've just mentioned.
Just to take it back to Manchester United and take into account everything we've been talking about with the club and dressing rooms, what would be the 3 key values that you'd say that would be for the identity of a Man United player?
Wow. You know, just having a little listen to Giggsy there, having a little chat with Rio Ferdinand. And Rio Ferdinand looks like he's a little bit in awe of Ryan Giggs. And I mean, it's nice to see because there's obviously, you know, a deep respect there from Rio Ferdinand towards Giggsy. But I mean, I don't feel as though Rio Ferdinand needs to be too deferential to Ryan Giggs. Not that Ryan Giggs doesn't deserve the respect from Rio Ferdinand. But Rio Ferdinand was probably the best defender of his generation. And probably Man United's greatest ever defender. So if Ryan Giggs is one of United's greatest ever players, so is Rio Ferdinand. And, you know, you might disagree with Rio Ferdinand being the greatest defender of his generation. Fair enough, but he's certainly in the top 3. I mean, the only players that you could really... The players that are in the conversation for that era are probably Cannavaro, Nesta, John Terry and Rio. Yeah, I'd say those were the players that were the best defenders in the world when Rio was in his prime. And yeah, he was better than John Terry, for sure. I think he was better than Cannavaro. And I think it's down between Nesta and Rio, really, of who the best defender of that generation is. But anyway, I digress. But the point I'm making is that, you know, it's nice to see that Rio's got a little bit of respect there for Giggsy. But Rio Ferdinand can, you know, stand up straight and tall and proud next to any Manchester United player. Outside of maybe, you know, RIP Sir Bobby Charlton and those guys. But, you know, he was special, you know. Anyway... But yeah, you know, it's really nice to be reminded about sort of Wayne Rooney and when he sort of made his comeback at Manchester United. You know, his comeback when he signed for Manchester United. Sorry, I mean, Wazza was just an absolute phenomenal player. Like he was just weird to watch, really, and I mean, he was just nasty, and that's what Manchester United need. We don't really have a lot of nasty players at the club anymore. I mean, the nasty players that we had back in the day, I mean, you had Robson, you had Mark Hughes, you had Cantona, Schmeichel, and then obviously in Giggs' era, you had Keane, Scholes, and Vidic, and even Giggsy could be nasty as well. But, you know, where are those fighting characters that we used to have? We need those players in the team now. And there's players like that out there. Because it's top-level sport and it's competitive and it is a contact sport, regardless of what the powers that be and regardless of what the referees say or do or cards that they dish out or anything like that. Players are going to collide. And if they're going to collide, that makes it a contact sport. So you need players to be able to throw themselves in there and get stuck in. And Manchester United just seem to have lacked players like that for quite a while now. I'm struggling to think of any players who've been like that. Maybe Rasmus Højlund was probably the last one that we had. I mean, Casemiro's a bit like that, a little bit. And Ugate's a little bit like that, but they haven't exactly elevated themselves to Manchester United legendary status just yet. But in terms of the Rashford thing, yeah, Rashford's gone. I think we all know that. What could Giggsy have done to have sort of helped Marcus Rashford? It's hard to know. I do think that Marcus Rashford has suffered because he hasn't had enough characters for a long enough period of time to mentor him while he's been at Manchester United. He had them a little bit at the beginning of his career, ironically, when he was at his best. So he had players like Wazza, Carrick and Zlatan, keeping tabs on him, so to speak. But once those players left and he became a locker room leader, so to speak, he probably wasn't quite ready for that elevation just yet, because he was still quite young himself. So it probably wasn't ingrained in him, that nastiness that you need to be a top-level Man United player. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why he's not suiting the situation at the moment is the system. He doesn't suit that 3-4-3, and I don't think he's got any kind of inclination to try and adapt to it. And I mean, I've said this before. I mean, he's seen false dawn after false dawn after false dawn after false dawn. He's probably tired of Manchester United and sort of broken promises that they're going to be a winning side and all of this. So he probably wants his last contract to be, at a club where he's going to be challenging for titles. But ironically, I can't help but feel as though Marcus Rashford, I don't know if you've seen that meme of the two men tunnelling, and one of them quits right before he hits the diamonds, and then you've got the other one that's keep on going and he's almost at the diamonds. I can't help but feel that Marcus Rashford is the guy in the meme that's quit right before he's achieved the diamonds. And what I mean by that is he's down tools right before Man United are truly building a foundation for them to be able to kick on and do something quite nice in English football again. That being said, the Big D's been saying that for a decade as well, with each false dawn. So, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But Marcus Rashford, his time is up at Manchester United. I agree with Giggsy. Time's up. No, there's no way back for him now. And to be fair, he hasn't really done anything at Aston Villa to warrant a second chance at Manchester United, unfortunately. So, adios amigo and welcome Kuna. Hopefully he comes in and does something. But yeah, anyway, Giggsy, yeah, it's really nice to sort of hear from the Man United legends. And to be fair, Giggs, he tells a good story. Big D's met Ryan Giggs. He went to a Q&A with Giggsy last year, and he was good crack, to be quite frank. And yeah, it would be nice to see Giggsy back into football now that he's gotten over his legal troubles, so to speak. And he proved himself to be quite a decent manager as well. And to be fair to Giggsy, he was actually a good assistant, really. And I remember reading in one of the newspapers, Giggsy had an interview, and he actually spotted two attacking players who were Man United players, so to speak, that would have perfectly suited the club. He told Louis van Gaal, who was manager at the time, and Louis van Gaal passed. And he could have got both of those players for a combined fee of £5 million. And those players were Gabriel Jesus and Kylian Mbappe, believe it or not. Kylian Mbappe was 16 at the time, and we just bought Anthony Martial. And that's what Louis van Gaal said to Ryan Giggs. But Giggsy insisted and said, well, yeah, get him, but we can always loan him back to Monaco. He was like, no, we're not doing it. And then what happens? That season, or maybe it was a season later, Kylian Mbappe breaks through and has his breakthrough season as a 17-year-old, and then he has a £150 million signing to Paris Saint-Germain. Hey, so Giggsy is bang on with the recruitment crack. But hey ho. But what are your favourite Ryan Giggs moments? And do you agree with Giggsy? Is it no way back for Marcus Rashford? Thoughts in the comments, and the Big D will see you next week.